the Auburn Blitz Podcast, your direct source for all Auburn all the time with Brett Pritchard, Faith Richardson, and Randy Lee.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Blitz Podcast here on this Tuesday morning. We're glad that you join us every single day, wherever and whenever it is that you join us and make an Auburn Blitz part of your daily Auburn athletic intake. Brett and Randy here with you on a Tuesday morning, getting your, I guess your week's not starting. It could be starting for some people. Some of you could have took Monday off, I guess. But we're glad you joined us today here on a Tuesday because we got a lot to talk about. Obviously, some really good positive news regarding Malcolm Simmons that, again, we'd all kind of been sitting and waiting to kind of hear what the next steps were going to be on that, Randy. And yesterday, Malcolm got some really good news that the case had been dismissed. And now he's fully cleared to get after it, and excited for him. Look, we weren't sitting here trying to say anything about the case because we didn't know. I mean, bottom line is we just didn't want to offer up any kind of opinion that way. So, thoughts and prayers go out to everybody that was involved in the incident. So, but now obviously we've gone the legal path and the judge dismissed the case. And so we move forward now.
Well, glad for Malcolm. I mean, everybody that's got friends or kids that we helped coach or raise or have anything to do with, have incidents that go on that you're not overly excited about. And you hope that some of the things that you hear aren't true. But at the end of the day, you got to let the courts work their way through it. And, this one was pretty quick. And maybe I read in a little bit to that to say that hopefully it wasn't as bad as first reported, because at first report, Brett, I'll be honest, you and I are on the phone and we're very upset because we've been around Malcolm a long time. And all I can do is go off of the person that I've witnessed myself. And we've called a lot of ball games. We've been around him outside of ball. He's been in and around the program even after graduating at Benjamin Russell. I mean, he comes back. He loves the maroon and gray. I'm sure he'll be there the next couple of weekends on Friday night when we're playing Opelika with his maroon and gray on. I mean, the guy just loves his hometown and his football team. And, I'm here for that. And hopefully they got everything straightened out. And, he and the girl are going to work things out and make things good there. But from a football standpoint, you just hate to see somebody as talented as Malcolm have rough things go on. I know as an Alabama fan, maybe you point to Henry Ruggs. I watched Henry Ruggs. You watched Henry Ruggs. We covered Henry Ruggs for 3 years at Robert E. Lee High School. My gosh, what a talent. We haven't had talent much better than him in multi-sports, Brett. I mean, he was a highlight reel on the basketball court. He was a great baseball player, kind of like Malcolm. I mean, whichever ball he wanted to pick up, he was going to be able to do it. So you just hate to see talent like that potentially wasted. And I'll say this, as a fan of Malcolm, as a fan of the way he carries himself on the football field and off, I hope he learns something from this. And I hope he takes it and realizes that everything can be pulled out from under you within a moment's time. You have to make, I'll tell you this, I was at a leadership council. I don't think Coach Jay would mind me saying this, but I was attending the leadership council for Ben Russell.
Right.
Kurt Johnson had invited me up there, and I'm very thankful he did invite me up there, Brett, because, as the color guy for our local high school teams or for Auburn or for the NFL, to have a little background knowledge of what's going on inside a program tells you a lot about it.
Oh, yeah.
And, the very first, it was a leadership council, of course, and we were reading off multi-paragraphs and this whole rundown that he had. Well, the very first one was, take the sum total of the 5 people that you spend your most time with.
Right.
And that's who you're going to become, and that's who you're going to be. Hopefully Malcolm does that here and realizes that who you run with, what you're doing out there when you're outside of the facilities, even when you're not in the wrong, you can be in the wrong. We've had a number of football players lose scholarships and lose opportunities to play in the last few weeks. And I'm not saying that they weren't definitely in the wrong, but even when you're not, if you're in the wrong crowd, it can be a problem. And Coach Jay was definitely saying that. And so that's a long-winded way around. I'm certainly glad Malcolm will be back out there on the field, and I hope he has a tremendous year.
Well, I think the summation of what you said is in a split second, everything you know and have and worked so hard for can be gone, and that's a life lesson for any of us. In whether you're a kid or an adult, one fatal decision can kill everything that you've ever worked for. So, some people don't get a second chance. Where this thing played its way out in the legal system, which is the way it should have. And thankfully for Malcolm, he's going to have another opportunity, and hopefully he has learned from that, whatever that situation was, and will choose not to put himself in that position again. So thankful for that. Hope all that has been resolved and moved forward in his personal life too, so he can get a little bit of peace on that. But we did want to start there this morning and talk about that. Randy, hadn't had you on since we had a scrimmage on Friday, and we talked mostly yesterday on the podcast and the show about the defensive side of the football, and talked a little bit about the offensive L's, but had some offensive coaches after practice yesterday, had the offensive coaches available to meet with the media. And so we've heard a lot of mixed things. I've been at practice and Faith's been at practice, and we reported last week. I think it was either the Wednesday or the Thursday viewing window. I can't remember. My days run together now. But the practice window that we had, I was impressed with Jackson Arnold. We even talked about it in our little recap of practice. And I think Jason and Nathan talked about it on theirs on 24/7. I think they were really talking about how Jackson Arnold looked in control, and that's exactly what I said. Felt like maybe he had taken the next step, and then you hear the stuff coming out of the Friday scrimmage that he didn't really do any bad things, but he didn't really do any good things. It was just kind of okay. So you get all of that when you don't get a chance to put your eyeballs on it. You hear different things from different people. I told Faith yesterday on the podcast that, I think he's still got an issue a little bit with some confidence because of last year. And I think he would rather people say, well, he didn't really do anything in scrimmage rather than he threw 3 picks, maybe trying to force balls in and do some things like that. But then we get a comment from Ken Austin yesterday, and, he's basically saying we're moving the sticks in the quick game. He's impressed with where Jackson Arnold is, and Deuce Knight and Ashton Daniels, as far as running the offense. But, he did point out some things like holding the ball too long and some things he's got to work through. But, it's just hard to tell right now because we are really good defensively, and I'm not exaggerating that. I really, truly feel like when the dust settles this year, Randy, everybody's going to go down. This is a really good defense that DJ Durkin has assembled in that side of the ball. So they're going against some really, really top-notch competition. So we'll see what happens as we move to the next scrimmage and see if there's any progress made.
Well, I'll start with the defense and then move over to thoughts around the offense. One, if you played any defense or if you coached any defense and you go against the same system, the same looks, receivers getting the same splits, moving around out there in formation, at a certain point in time when you've done that for 4 to 6 weeks, Brett, you should be way ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Based on the way that I see you line up and the formations that I see you in, unless you're just way better than me, I'm going to have a leg up there. Now, we've had times in the past where we've had players on opposite sides of the ball that were much better than the ones that they were going against on the other side. So I think it's probably pretty equal. I think the secondary for Auburn is very talented. I think there's some high-end playmaking ability on that side, some of them young, but we're talking about some major playmakers, New Boy being the one that I would point to the most. They just have a knack for getting around the football and making big plays. And so if that's the case, then it's going to show up on the defensive side of the ball as long as we play a a physical version of Auburn defense. And I think DJ Durkin's going to coach that up, and I think we're going to be really strong throughout. As long as linebacker play is above average. I mean, you can't
Right.
be average in this league at anything, or it's going to be exposed. But as long as linebacker plays above average, I think Auburn's defense has a chance to be well above average this year. Now, on the offensive side of the ball, you can't just turn a blind eye to the conversations around Jackson Arnold. Now, I've been one. You give me a rude look from time to time. We've got others that I do shows with that just get sick and tired of me talking about it. But he's got to go out there and prove that what we saw at Oklahoma is not the version that we're going to see at Auburn. And I can't make him do that, and you can't. We can talk until we're blue in the face. A couple of things about Jackson Arnold that you can't see in a scrimmage. I mean, he's very versatile moving around in the pocket and outside of the pocket. But when you've got that "don't touch me" jersey on, it's hard to see if somebody can make a play when one's not there. So when you have that skill set, you've got to remember what Nick Marshall did. You have to remember the opportunities that he brings to the game that aren't really drawn up. He's just a guy that can go out there and make them happen. So, without saying that, it's kind of hard to watch and see how he's playing in some of these scrimmages. But he had a bad interception, is what you hear. And it's probably one of the worst throws of the day. I'm just repeating things that I hear from others. And that's got to be corrected. Now, the beauty of what Coach Nix and Coach Freeze have done here is Ashton Daniels has he's taken a lot of snaps of big-time football, Brett. He can run with a football. I'll never forget that 2013 year when Nick Marshall won the starting job. We were like, what? Who? The guy that played in the secondary for Georgia is going to be our quarterback? Are you kidding?
Right.
Now, if I go to Brett Pritchard and I said, Brett, would you take Nick Marshall the rest of your life as your quarterback at Auburn year in and year out? What would your answer be, Brett?
100%.
Every day. It may be one that ceiling's higher, but just give me him and I'll take my chances. And so you've got to kind of mute your expectations. It could be Ashton Daniels. But the thing that I'm saying about Coach Freeze and Coach Nix is bring Deuce Knight into the conversation too, Brett. That's a really good room.
It's a great room. It's the best room I think we've had.
If one falters, the other steps up and has a chance to play. Well, don't take what I'm saying the wrong way, Auburn
no,
fans.
I think what you got to
not me, but
no. I think what you got to do on that, not to cut you off, is I think to kind of go along with your point is that you got to be quicker if you're Hugh Freeze if you don't see things going in the right direction to make a change. And we're not already making quarterback changes, people. Just please don't clip this and go, well, those idiots. I mean, it's what I'm saying is that, you can't allow your decision to go in one direction to be overly stubborn and go, well, I'm riding this regardless because this is the call I made. Look, let's give this thing some time. But what you're saying is that the room is talented. There's options there. It's not like you don't have somebody that can step in if needed. But, again, the decision was made post-spring immediately for Jackson Arnold to be the starting quarterback. And, look, I can appreciate that. I can say, look, okay, now we don't go into a fall count wondering who the guy is.
Oh, I like it too. Yeah,
so
I totally agree with it. But I'm saying this as a compliment to the staff. There is a room there to work with. And I think the ceiling in that room, even outside of Jackson Arnold, is exceptionally high. Now, has that always been the case at Auburn? Hell no. If we went past the first one, I mean, the drop was tremendous.
Right.
I don't sense that. I think the ceiling's really high, especially for Deuce Knight, and I'm not up here pleading for him. I hope Jackson Arnold's all SEC and gives Auburn a chance to win double-figure wins this year, and I think he can. I mean, if everybody that watched him play, and look, he won the job at Oklahoma. It's not like he came out as a five-star and never proved anything at Oklahoma. A lot of people there felt like he was the guy too. I mean, now they let him go, and we got an opportunity.
Hey, and Brent Venables said it at media days. He said we didn't want him to leave. This was not we got to get rid of Jackson Arnold. he really wanted him to stay. They wanted Jackson Arnold to stay, but Jackson Arnold made the decision too to take that and go in another direction. So
now let's bounce around a little bit on the offensive side. First off, So much buzz around Omar Mabson. What do you see, Brett? You've been to practices. Those of us that haven't, look, I know a lot about him, and just to kind of reiterate what we said this past week. Brett and I were getting videos from Jason Caldwell at Auburn High School last year with Omar under a squat rack and what he looked like heading into his junior season at Auburn. We know that Keith Etheridge runs as good a program as anybody in the state of Alabama. That does matter. It matters tremendously.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, we all hope Alvin Henderson becomes an all SEC back at Auburn, but coming from Elba High School, where he pretty much ran the Wildcat and had the ball snapped to him every play, and he went and ran the ball 45 to 50 times a game and put up PlayStation numbers, is not what you got from Auburn High School 7A
A
football,
little
big boy
deceptive.
football, and
It's
Omar
deceptive.
Mabson having to block defensive ends and block others back in the backfield, catch the ball out of the backfield, which Coach Etheridge really teaches well. Weight room training that you expect from a high-end 7A program here in the state of Alabama. So I'm not surprised. Now, I'm a little bit surprised because he should be a high school senior this year, so it's a little bit. He's almost a year
Right.
ahead of schedule right now, Brett. But what have you seen? Is there a reason for so much buzz around him?
I just think he's again. Like, let me preface before I go into describing this running back room a little bit. Do I think Omar Mabson's going to jump ahead of the 2 or 3 guys in front of him? I don't. Now, if he does, we got some problems. I'm just going to say that not from a standpoint because he's not ready to play or he's not physically ready to play, but you got some pretty wily veterans there that have been waiting their turn. And if he's hopping them, then there's an issue there in the running back room. We haven't seen a lot of consistency out of that running back room yet. So I think it's a little bit concerning. I'll be honest with you. Damari Austin's had a little bit of a heel issue, and then Jeremiah Cobb with a finger. And, I told you this. I've been very impressed with Darrell Robinson. Now, again, Darrell Robinson played at UConn, and you go back and you look at his stats, he averaged about 7 yards a carry, but he wasn't playing in the SEC. But regardless of that, you can also say, well, he played at UConn and maybe he didn't have the talent on the same side of the ball as he's going to have at Auburn, that it's going to be able to open up some holes and be able to do some more things. So there's multiple ways to look at that too. But I think Omar Mabson's going to get in the picture. I sent y'all a text the other day. I think it's going to be hard to keep him out of the rotation. He is a pretty special running back. You and I talked about it. You saw it. I've seen it on film. He's come in here with a attitude that, hey, I'm not waiting around. Like, I'm going to go out here. It's kind of like Malcolm Simmons. Like, every snap, every opportunity, he's going 110%, whether it's at practice, whether it's with the third team, whether it's with the ones, whatever. Every opportunity he looks at as a chance for him to move up the depth chart and compete. So that's the effort you get out of Omar Mabson. He's very talented. Again, he's learning the offense, and I think he's going to play. I really do. I think he's going to force his way on the field because of what he's doing, as far as his work in practice. I like Omar Mabson. I think everybody that sees him at practice, we've all talked about it, just really, really a fun, energetic guy to watch on the field.
So when you watch scrimmage, though, Brett, and I'm going to hit you on a couple of questions because I haven't been there with you. Our offensive line matched up with our defensive line. Is it that drastic of a difference? I mean, is our defensive line that much further ahead of our offensive line currently? Is that room for improvement, or do you have any concerns when you see that? Just talk through that a bit, because
I talked about it yesterday.
Scrimmage, that's important.
Yeah, I talked about it yesterday. A lot of hype around our offensive line, rightfully so. Probably the best line going into a season I think we've had since 2017. I said that a bunch. I will say this, though, that defensive front that I was a little concerned about coming out of spring, when you come out in the portal and you add guys like James Ash and then you start getting production out of Jay Hardy and Zacchaeus Walker and some of these other guys that you weren't hearing a lot about. Now all of a sudden they're getting in there and they're making plays. And I also talked about Jordan Crawford yesterday, and we've talked about Jordan Crawford, but I've watched him now for about 4 practices. And that guy is different, man. And we talked about it when he was in high school, and I'm going to stick with it. He's going to be, to me, I think he's 1B at that nose tackle position. I think he's 1B. I think Bobby Jamison Travis definitely is going to be your starter. But like Coach Free said, you don't see tackles going 60 snaps in a football game anymore. You just don't see it. If you have to have a guy out there going 60 snaps, then you're in trouble. Jordan Crawford is ready to play SEC football. He's a lot stronger, believe it or not, Randy, than he even was at Parker, which you knew he would be when he got in this weight program. I think Jay Hardy has moved up the depth chart. I really do. And this was a guy this is his second time around at Auburn. Left, went to Liberty, transferred, really top-ranked player coming out of Tennessee when Auburn signed him. And then he's back now, and it's his time to shine. And I'm really impressed with him. Another guy that stood out at practice to me, and he just kept making play after play. And I told Faith, I'm like, is that number 3 again? And I looked down on my roster, and it was Chris Murray. And Chris Murray, another transfer, and he made a couple plays in the backfield. Let's see. I've got some notes here. Who else made a play in the backfield that I was excited about that I wrote down? Dallas Walker made a play in the backfield on a run that he just really beat his guy up front. I don't know exactly who he was going against because I was kind of at a bad angle, but he beat his guy up front pretty bad and got in the backfield, made a play on the running back. So this is a very active, strong, physical defensive line. And I haven't even talked about Keyron Crawford, Keldrick Falk, and any of those guys. I ain't even talked about Malik Blockton. I think Malik Autry from Opelika High School is moving up the depth chart as well. We've got some really solid depth. Now, how quickly can those younger guys pick up on the schemes and the things that they need to know will determine how many of those guys play, really.
A couple of thoughts on your comments there. One, shore up your local area kids. You got Opelika High School guy that you just talked about.
Yep.
And then on the previous segment that we talked about, Omar Mapson. Auburn and Opelika kids, I know you're going to lose one from time to time, but for the most part, if there's one you want to go out there and get, we can't lose Rashawn Evans. We can't lose those type of guys that to the nemesis across the state,
right,
or the ones right in our backyard over in Georgia that's close enough by as well. So that's great news right there. I'll kind of just add a little bit to Jordan Crawford. Brett and I called his championship game last year. He's the best player on the field. And when a defensive tackle, you leave a game, Brett knows we've been doing this for 20 plus years together. Some defensive linemen, and I'll say Malik Autry is one of these.
Yep.
He's one of those big old Terrence Cody defensive line where he's going to make 2 or 3 plays a game, and you're sure glad you've got him. But for the most part, he's clogging a hole up.
Right.
And he's standing up offensive linemen so they can stay off of those linebackers. And I think he's going to be wonderful at that. But then there's other defensive linemen like Jordan Crawford. Nick Fairley was one. DeMarco McNeil was one, not only at Blount High School, but also at Auburn, where they're the best player on the field.
Right.
They're athletic. They beat their man off the ball constantly. When they're not making a tackle in the backfield, they're still back there. They're disrupting everything nonstop that's going on out there on the field. And will that parlay into a freshman campaign for Jordan Crawford? I don't know. I mean, if you're strong enough.
Your knowledge of that is going to have to be – that's going to determine how many people play from all that.
Yes, and so Brett and I said it during the broadcast last year. Thank the Lord we've got him.
Yep.
Out of all these talented kids out here on the field, and Naeem Alford was one of them, wasn't he?
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't the one that I wanted the worst. At the end of that football game, I said, give me that big defensive tackle right there that has, I think, made at least 10-plus tackles and 5 tackles behind the line of scrimmage in the championship game. Is that right, Brett?
Right, that's right.
Just a wonderful player, and certainly glad that we got him. And, you go back to Malik Blockton last year. One thing that Auburn's proven is they can bring young defensive linemen into this program and get them out on the field early and then be productive.
Right.
Right. We've had times where that wasn't the case, but I think it is the case under DJ Durkin right now.
We got some comments coming in, so we'll get to those here in just a second. I want to thank some of our partners on the program, Green, for air that is cool and clean. Call on Green. They are the carrier experts here in the state of Alabama, saving people thousands of dollars on new installs. So I'm telling you right now, this is your opportunity to get you a brand new carrier unit and have Green come in. Professionals come in and get it done for you. Call on Green for that. Scout Program Management, a full construction management firm located in Birmingham, Alabama. Working on numerous multi-million-dollar projects for schools, for municipalities. If you're considering a major project in your city, town, or at your school, call on Scout Program Management. I've witnessed how well they work and what they do in certain situations that have saved people thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And again, they're the best in the business. They take you from the pre-construction phase to the finished product, and they make sure it's done correctly. Call on Scout Program Management Bunkers down there on East Glen and Auburn with 50 parking spots. You never have to worry about finding a parking space for Bunkers. The food is outstanding, the gaming, everything in there. If you haven't been to Bunkers, I'm sorry. I don't know what you're doing. It's one of the best places in Auburn. We love it. Go check out Bunkers. We appreciate them very, very much. Okay, some comments going back. Justin, I think I kind of talked about a few of these. Wanted to know which freshmen I think are going to play a lot this year. He mentioned Jordan Crawford, Autry, Melendez. I do think Elijah Melendez is going to be a major contributor at the linebacking core. He is as advertised. He made several plays in the last practice. He's got Robert Woodyard in front of him, but I think he's going to find his way on the field. Another guy I think that's going to maybe interchange every once in a while at corner is Blake Woodby. Blake Woodby is really, really talented. I like his – dude, I can go down a list of 9 guys back here in the secondary. I think all of them could play, and we'd all be fine. I really do. And some of them are freshmen. Blake Woodby's definitely one of them. I think when you get down to the third team, that's when you start seeing a lot of these freshmen that have a chance to work their way up the depth chart a little bit more. I know we talked about New Boy. I definitely think you're going to find a spot for him.
He's going to be in nickel packages, isn't he, Brett?
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he's the nickel back right now, kind of running behind, kind of third guy behind Sylvester Smith and Champ Anthony. That's how I would list him, because Champ Anthony's back and looks good. I mean, it's good to see that he kind of recovered from that leg injury. Better watch Jared Smith, everybody. He's putting on weight. I've told everybody about Jared Smith. In that rotation with Keldrick Falk and Amaris Williams, I think we are set there at defensive end for a while. Amaris Williams is a man-child. He's as advertised. I'm glad Auburn was able to hang on to him and he didn't transfer out last year. But Jared Smith, with his length and his quickness coming off the ball, he's got a chance to be one of the best, I think, moving forward that we could have ever seen at Auburn because of the tools that he has. Keldrick Falk has developed into this what prototypical defensive end look that you'd see in the NFL. I don't know that Jared Smith ever gets that kind of weight, but man, his height and what he's able to do maybe gives him some other opportunities to do some things. But those are some of the freshmen that I see. I think on offense, you got some guys that could work their way in on the receiving core. Obviously, Sam Turner is one of those guys that you watch. You got a lot of true freshman offensive linemen that are looking really good, but we'll see how far they're able to move up and see if they're able to get maybe in a rotation. But no, I those are the ones I think. I mean, and of course, Jordan Crawford may be at the top of that list of a guy that we're going to see, and Elijah Melendez. Probably those two we're going to see a good bit of.
Well, 2 of them you brought up coming out of the best program in the state of Alabama, and that's Thompson High School, coached by the best coach in the state of Alabama, and Mark Freeman. That's New Boy and Jared Smith. And Auburn, for far too long, especially under Brian Harsin, couldn't find our way to Thompson High School. If you had GPS on every vehicle and whatever you wanted, we're not recruiting that for whatever reason. And that's the first stop you make. You come into this state, there's about 3 stops you got to go make. You got to go to Phoenix City, you got to go to Auburn, and then you got to head over to Thompson, Brett. And you can't miss. And of course, Benjamin Russell and some other places are becoming some spots. But those 3 are the ones that you just can't miss constantly on those guys. So
And
there's no
Hoover.
surprise.
And Hoover.
And
Yep.
Hoover, but you're not surprised at all for a kid that's coming out of those programs to be ready to play
No.
early, are you?
No, not at all. I mean, again, we're past that. We're long past the days of if you play a freshman, you probably don't have any good players on your team. That's wrong. I mean, it's just because these guys are in such developed programs in high school, they're way ahead of the game, and they're part of winning programs. So, I mean, every one of those guys we just ripped off are walking into a college program that struggled. They haven't ever struggled. They don't know what it's like to lose. All of those guys we just talked about, the Jordan Crawfords, the Anquan Fagans, the Jared Smiths, the Malik Altreys, Malik Blockton, they don't know how to lose, man. And I know Malik Blockton's a year two guy, but I'm just saying, you're talking about all the local guys, the in-state guys, they all come from, perennial winning programs, and several have won state championships in that group. So, I mean, you can even add Eric Winters into it. I mean, he had a really, really good last year at Enterprise High School. So that matters. You bring a bunch of guys in that don't know how to do anything but win. That's the people you want permeating the culture. You can go out and get 4 and 5 star guys, but they've been part of dunk programs. And, they've been kind of the guy. And then they come in and they go, well, that's kind of how it went with me at high school. I was good, but I could never, we could never get over the hump. I think you have an edge to you when you go out there and you go, man, I ain't coming here to lose. I mean, I had never lost in my life. I'm not going to start now. So I'm hoping that infusion of the talent of what Hugh Freeze and his staff has been able to recruit over the last several years is going to start kind of reinfusing this culture at Auburn of winning. And that's what we need. So,
and I think it will. I definitely think it will. But, just to kind of sum up what we've hit on, and maybe you can hit on a couple of more questions there, Brett, but don't get too overly anxious about a scrimmage at this time of year.
No, you're exactly right.
I mean,
you're exactly right.
You can really get caught up trying to find something to talk about.
I mean, what if the offense had gone out there and lit up the defense and scored 5 times? Everybody be going, well, our defense sucks, man. We ain't gonna be able to stop anybody. Baylor's gonna score 70 points. I mean, there's multiple ways to look at it.
There definitely is, and and the beauty of this season for Auburn is here in the early going. I mean, when you go take on a Baylor team at their place, right, there's nobody. I mean, I'm listening and watching a whole lot of national pundits talk about college football right now because I'm getting ramped up for it myself. And there's nobody saying that Baylor's going to have a bad team.
Oh, no.
Now, whether they win their conference or not, it's a completely different conversation than the one that I want to have here, or that I'm going to get enough information on one way or the other. But what I do hear is Auburn's having to go on the road on a Friday night and play a team that's at least our equal currently. And so, hey, you're going to know what you got. And they don't want to start that. They don't want to start their season with a great coach. I mean, Dave Aranda is a coach that a lot of people would like to have, Brett, and Baylor happens to have him. And so the same with Auburn. Hugh Freeze knows how much is going into this opening game. I mean, this is maybe that's a question I'd ask you, because you and I really haven't had this conversation yet. But my gosh, Auburn loses this first game. The Bluebirds will be in a different.
Yeah, we don't want to even go down that path.
That's my point, though. Is this is a massive football game for Hugh Freeze and staff.
It's huge. From a perception standpoint of, you got all this off, out of season momentum, not off the field, but out of season momentum, and hearing all the progress and everything, and then you roll out to Waco, Texas, and you don't play well. It just gonna set things down a bad path, in my opinion. So again, one game doesn't make a season, but it sure can shape it. And you would much rather go out there, win a game, 10 to 14 points, and go out there and play well, and have Baylor play well, and you beat them by 2 touchdowns at their place. Sends a really big message, not just to the people around the country, but to your own team. I think they need it more than anybody. I didn't quit worried about what everybody else thinks. Can we go out as a team and go do what we know we can do? And if you do that, you build confidence, you move forward into a couple of games where you come back home and you feel really good about it, where you can just say, I can go play football and improve, get 2 more wins before you go on the road and play Oklahoma and Texas A&M, which you know is going to be 2 of the tougher games on your schedule. And if you're able to go and split one between those 2, I mean, now you're well on your way to a stretch coming up. You know, you got Georgia after a bye week. Then you get through that stretch, you got 4 or 5 games there that should all be wins for Auburn if they're playing good football. And then you end with Alabama. So, I mean, at that point in time, you're looking at 8, 9 possible wins, maybe with a chance to win a 10th game. But if you lose to Baylor, your path to 8 or 9 wins becomes a lot more difficult. It just does. So, some other comments coming in. Just said, you think we would have won the Georgia game we all went to when Sean White started with one of these quarterbacks? I mean, I would like to say yes. I mean, we all kind of thought Sean White was going to go over there, and we actually scored early, but we kind of went into the bog offense like we used to go into all the time. So I don't know. I would like to say yes. We probably could, but who knows? War Eagle to you, Jonathan. Appreciate it, John. Thanks for all the positive comments. War Eagle to you, T-Buck. Justin said, is Joe Phillips doing anything? I haven't really. If he has, he just hasn't stood out to me. I would say that Joe Phillips is probably 3rd string right now at that Buck position. I would probably put just watching Chris Murray and what he's done, I would probably put Chris Murray ahead of him. And again, it's no cut on Joe Phillips. I just think Chris Murray's playing really good football. And then, you know, of course, Kieron Crawford is the starter at that position. So he's going to get a majority of the snaps. Kieron Crawford plays pissed off. Okay. That's the only way I know to describe him. And when he walks by you without his helmet on, he looks pissed off. And he looks pissed off. He's got to go out there and he's going to kill somebody. So I love Kieron Crawford's energy, man, and he's going to be a really, really good player this year in the conference. I'd be surprised at the end of the day when the dust settles that he's not an all-conference player at some level. I don't know if it's 2nd or 3rd team, but I think he's definitely got it in him. Yeah, there's the length and girth comment, John. I mean, I think we're going to have that from now on. And when we were sitting there in the press room, the wind from everybody's head when he said that went like that and looked at each other. I said, well, here we go. I told Faith, I said, this will be a meme before we get out of the building. And she, of course, I'm loud. She's like, shut up. Don't say. And I said, I'm just telling you, it's going to be a meme. It's going to be a meme. And when we got out, I had pulled up Twitter and somebody had already tweeted it out. And I'm like, here we go. He'll never live that one down for sure. Justin said, lose that first game, Brett will personally drive the welcome wagon to Gruden's house. Hey, it didn't hurt my feelings to see that John Gruden would love to coach in the SEC. So, look, I like Coach Freeze. I want him to work out, but Lord help. Now, that might be my dream come true if John Gruden came to Auburn. I've said that for years, though. It has nothing to do with the current state of the program. So, all right, let's get to a couple more of our partners here on the program. We appreciate them so very much. And somebody that's about to invade my house today, Old Number One Customs, 334-752-6162. Jake and his crew coming in to start the renovation process of our master bathroom. If you're looking for a remodel on your master bathroom, kitchen, outdoor living space, they're the guys to call. I'm telling you, just go look at their Instagram page, their Facebook, their work does all the storytelling for you. We're going to do a time lapse on our bathroom, so we'll have a little video to show everybody. I'm excited. I'll be more excited when I see their truck pull off for the final time because I know that project is complete, and I know Jake will probably be glad to be leaving as well by that time. Call on Old Number One Customs, 334-752-6162. JFA Blue Plumbing, 844-JFA Blue, the home Atlas water filter duo system that they can install in your house to provide clean, purified water for everybody, your children, your pets, everybody. Everybody needs purified water. So go check that out as well. 844-JFA Blue. And Oliver Ross, they just picked up the Buckmasters Expo again for, I think, the 3rd or 4th straight year. Buckmasters isn't hiring some 2-bit organization to come run their convention. That's a 20 to 40,000 person event, and Oliver Ross will get it done for you, just like they do Buckmasters, and they can handle parties as small as 15 to 20 up to events like Buckmasters at 20,000. So if you're looking for tailgate, somebody to come out and bartend at your tailgate that's coming up fall, call on Oliver Ross. Go check them out on Instagram. They do great work. Fully licensed bartenders out there for all of the things that you need. All right, Randy, moving over. Let me get this off the screen. Thank you, Mark. All right. The Netflix documentary. I don't know if you've seen it or not. I've seen several episodes, and you're starting to go, why did they decide to do things the way they did? And then I saw somebody post out yesterday like a pie chart of how much each team's gotten exposure. And Lyndon jumped on Saturday after you left with me and Luke and talked for about 40 minutes on this Netflix documentary and why she didn't like a lot of it and why she liked some parts of it. I can tell you why she liked some of it's because Vanderbilt got more exposure than any team. Like, I don't know why Netflix went in and decided Vanderbilt was going to get the most, and then maybe LSU second most, and then Florida and South Carolina. But Georgia's really not in it. Texas is not in it. Oklahoma's not in it. Alabama's not in it. Auburn's in it for a sliver. I'm glad they picked Texas A&M the week of Texas A&M to come down and film Auburn segment because it really kind of looked pretty good. And I mean, that was probably our biggest win last year. Tennessee, very small amount. Texas A&M a little bit. A little Arkansas, maybe just a tad bit of Kentucky. But man, you left out half the better teams in the league. It's fun to watch it. I think it's produced very well. But if you're going to do a documentary on a conference, don't leave 6 or 7 teams out. That's just my opinion.
Well, I'll say this. Okay. I watched a lot of that old SEC that was SEC Network that they put together, 7 or 8 years ago, Brett? And I'll say this for Vandy. If they give Vandy a little airtime here, it's because they didn't get any over there. Now, Auburn didn't hardly get any. But if you didn't know everything under the sun about Bear Bryant, by the end of that, you knew every movie made, where he was born, wrestling bears,
where he used the bathroom,
Joe Namath, how he went and got him. I mean, I love Bear Bryant. I mean, I'm an Auburn fan, but I can get into.
I can honestly say I can't ever say that ever.
I mean,
I've never come out of my mouth.
I didn't grow up during that era, so he doesn't disgust me to that level. But my point is, Brett, I mean, there were certain runs that got nonstop coverage if you ever went back and watched that.
Yeah.
And Suge got a little bit, and Auburn's Amazing's got a little bit, but outside of that, we didn't get very much at all. So, the names that you reel off are the ones that don't get as much exposure. And maybe that's a good thing. I'm not. I mean,
Jeff said Georgia and Alabama turned it down, and I heard that too, Jeff. But God Almighty, man, just you leave those two teams out of a documentary on the SEC, it's kind of like, really? Like, well, I'm okay, whatever. But anyway, I guess they can't control when teams turn it down.
But now your question of whether I've watched it or not, Brett.
Oh, I already know the answer to that. So
I never thought I would end up at a time in my life where I don't catch like the games, the main games going on. I mean, I'm a massive sports fan. You know that when we were growing up, I didn't miss ball games. I watched them. Hell, now I don't watch any. I mean, none. I do nothing but turn every field and gym light on in Lee County and in Tallapoosa County, I feel like. And so I'm glad to do it, but I got a few more years of that. So
if people are driving up and down 280, there's a good chance at some point in time during the day, you're going to pass him. You're going to pass Randy on 280. And
I'm about to head over right now, and Auburn Chamber has got the Parks and Rec director at Auburn speaking to the chamber. So I get to go.
What's going on, man?
Oh, me. I mean, it is. I got an almost 12-year-old and a 9-year-old that loves ball. So I'm living it. I'll miss it one day. It's what I've been told. But right now,
you 100% will. When you're in the middle of it, you go, "How in the hell am I doing?
I don't know
stuff that I'm doing." And then you go back and you say, "Man, I'm glad I did it," because
this has got
you
a little
don't get
Auburn.
this over. You don't get those days over, man.
And I know we're up against the close here, but this got a little
Hunting
Auburn.
wives is much better, Jeff.
This got a little Auburn flavor to it, Brett, so you'll appreciate this. So I had our 12U group in Ellick City running the hill last night. I'm on the phone with Mike Goggins, who's the Parks and Rec director in Auburn, for the sport that I'm coaching over here in flag football in Auburn. So I got Mike.
Hey, if
on
anybody
top of
needs
the
a
hill.
coach of a team, Randy's looking for an opportunity to come coach your team too. He's going to try to set the Guinness Book of World Records for how many little league teams he can coach in one season. So if you need, call him at 1-800-FIND-A-COACH, and he'll be glad.
WeWorkForFree.com.
We work for free.com. Hey, he's got plenty of time. You know, he just call him if you need your t-ball team. You don't even have to have a tie to you. He don't even have to know you. So just call him. He'll come coach. All right, that's how it works. Justin, I was a little hypocritical of me, by the way, because you're right. 99% chance you'll pass Randy, me, or Luke going up and down 280. I have started to burn up 280. I feel like I live in Auburn every day now because I'm in practice or something's going on down there that we're covering, and we got a lot of great partners down there, and we're doing on location shows. Faith and I announced yesterday, and we rolled it out. Pepper Tree Steaks and Wine, our new post-game reaction show sponsor, Randy, and we're excited. Pepper Tree Steaks and Wine.
Can I have some wine before I go on this reaction show?
You do whatever you want to do.
Okay, because if you expect me to come on air, I'm not saying I'm taking it straight LSU on you.
Yeah.
But there's a real good chance I've had a pretty good time during or after the Auburn game. So hang in there with me. You're working. I'm just adding a little.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've been fairly warned, Brett Pritchard.
Yeah, well, you know, I've got a button I can cut y'all off at any time here. There's one thing about being in control. You can say, all right, had enough of that. Everybody, we've lost connection. I don't know what happened with his feed, but it went away. So, but yeah, we're looking forward to that. Appreciate Pepper Tree Steaks and Wine. Love Kathy and Paula. They're great to us. Just great people, and their customer service is second to none. And the food and the wine and everything they have at the one in Montgomery and in Auburn is top notch. So go check them out. But, you know, I can go through all our partners here. Most everybody knows it because we say it every day. Just recently signed a deal with Russell Medical Center. He'll start with us September. So you'll be hearing about Russell Medical Center on our programs as we move into September and all. So we got so much going on. Very blessed here. Blessed by all of you over here on the comment section. Love seeing all of you guys every single day. A lot of you are here with us every morning. And you've gone out and personally promoted us and helped us expand our channel and get the word out. And you've liked our programming from day one. And we appreciate it. Even all those out here that don't agree with us, that come back with some smart ass comments. I like those too. Randy will tell you, I kind of eat those up. I went back and forth with a guy. I think it was Tubbs Tiger, and Tubbs watches, and he may be watching right now. He and I kind of got into a Carver argument off a comment Randy mentioned on Saturday. I jumped into an argument with somebody. I didn't even say anything. So that's how that
thing
works.
About you is you defend me even when I'm not around.
That's a true friend, man. I said he ain't gonna talk about him like that.
But I was right, wasn't I?
Well, after I reeled off about 11 years of 8 to 10 win, 11 win seasons, I went, I don't know what you call a good year. I mean, in my book, those are pretty good years. And then you can throw 4 region championships in that time. But it was a friendly deal. It wasn't. And Tubbs Tiger went to Carver. He let me know that. And he did have some good points on pre-2002 Carver to now and the way everything's kind of viewed. And I won't dive into all that. Just go find the comments on the Saturday show. They're all on YouTube. You can go see the whole dialogue. But I finally told him, I said, man, just go enjoy your Saturday. I'm done. I mean, I'm not going to sit on here all Saturday and talk about Carver High School football with you. I'm just not going to do it. So, but anyway, it was a fun time. But we do, again, enjoy the dialogue. We appreciate it. And look, we don't know everything. All I can do is report to you and tell you what I see. And, you know, you may like that and you may not. So we're going to keep doing it. How about that? If you want to hearing us, you can come back to our channel and watch. All right, we'll be back on today at noon. Randy and I will be on for the noon show, actually in studio in Alex City. So, of course, Randy will have to leave Auburn and drive back to Alex City and then back to Auburn and then probably back again. And I don't know. Anyway, we'll just find us on 280, like Justin said. So, all right, everybody, appreciate you. So, you got anything else, Randy, you want to add?
I got to get in the car.
I will. Imagine that. You're already late. So, all right, guys, hope everybody has the best day ever and a big old War Eagle to you out there.